Ah, Cologne, a wondrous town found in the dark underbelly of the dark realm, known as Deutsche. Unlike Munich, which was located in Bavaria, a state that prides itself in being the home of 90% of the country's alcoholics, Cologne is located in Rheinland-Pfalz, which is known for holding the remaining 10% of alcoholics, as well as being the European equivalent of an African rainforest. According to Google, Cologne is known for its joyous attitude and party spirit, which is probably true if you're a raging alcoholic. But what they actually mean is that a shit ton of conventions take place there at the so-called Köln-Messe, one of them being the Gamescom. Now that E3 is officially deader than Margaret Thatcher, the Gamescom has become the world's biggest congregation of gamers, rivaled only by Russians on CSGO. This year, my friends and I decided it would be a great idea to go on a little road trip to visit the Gamescom, and bring back some stories to tell. Now, I don't have footage of it, but during the entire drive to Cologne, one of my friends kept yelling at the driver that he wasn't going fast enough on the Autobahn. So that was really funny. I'm sorry, A, but you know who you are, I just had to mention it. On the day we arrived, we decided to take it easy and check into our little vacation apartment first. On the site, it said that we could have a whirlpool. We all assumed this meant some larger pool where we could all relax together, and so we all packed like swimwear and stuff. But what was the pool actually like? Well, this. Needless to say, no, 5 people definitely didn't fit there in once. Also, when I tried getting the whirlpool machine to work, it gave me an electric shock that hurt like a motherfucker. So needless to say, I didn't touch that thing ever again. After a night of resting, it was time to actually visit the convention itself. When we got a parking spot, we were brought to the actual location via a bus, which honestly reminded me a lot of an airport. Once there, I got my wrist strap, which was frankly put on a little too tight, but I was already inside by the time I noticed, so I just lived with it. And then we entered, to which we were immediately greeted by the sight of Elgato Gaming and a giant dedicated Sega section. Not far from there was the Xbox area, where they had a playable demo of Armored Core 6. Now mind you, this was before the game came out and I was very cautious about it. They'd announced a lot of changes to the mechanics that made me honestly a bit worried about the game, so I decided to split from the group and go play it instead. Unfortunately, I couldn't record myself playing, so enjoyed the footage of others playing it. After playing it myself though, I was extremely excited, and since the game already came out by the time this video is up, I won't bother you with the details. I probably already beat it and probably already put a text review in the community tab as well. So instead, I'm going to talk about the differences between the demo and the final release that I noticed. Though mind you, I might also just be insane and misremembering a lot of things. For one, they made us play on an Xbox Series X dev kit, which was really weird but honestly pretty cool. I know this is probably commonplace for such events, but I found it neat nonetheless. The mission we got to play was the Grid 086 infiltration, which is the first mission of Chapter 2. In the main game it's honestly really easy, but in this version it's significantly more difficult. Enemies hit way harder than in the actual game, and you only got to use one of 3 pre-built ACs, all of which had pretty weak weaponry. I ended up picking the one that kind of looked like the Aliyah from AC4. If you died, then there was that, and you had to let the spot go to the next person. I ended up seeing a lot of people die to Rummy of all things. Meanwhile on the final release he melts if you even as much as look at him. Carla also seemed to speak a lot less than she did in the actual game. Rummy also seemed to have a much higher pitched voice, and I distinctly remember both Air and Walter guiding you through the mission as opposed to just Air. And that's about it for the differences I noticed. After that I started exploring a little while looking for my friends, and unfortunately I don't have a record of it, but while doing so I came across a guy claiming to be a journalist being kicked out of the business area. I eventually met up with them in the merchandise area, which was honestly really disappointing, as 90% of the shit there was anime stuff, some of which would actually kill me from shame if I were to buy it. Also apparently Pickle Rick is still funny to people, as I saw it multiple times. I have little faith in humanity left. I found this extremely cool set of illuminated posters though, and then I met him, my idol, John Mogus. We then made our way to another area of the con, where the motherfucking Aldi of all companies was hiring people. Do they just think every gamer wants to be a grocer? Because if so, then they'd probably be right, let's be real. We then stopped by the retro area, and this place was sick. There were lots of cool limited edition consoles, retro games to try out on real hardware, arcade machines, and a live concert, which was actually just random people playing Guitar Hero. But much to my disappointment, you couldn't actually buy any retro games there yourself, so that sucked. My friend and I ended up playing Smash on an actual N64 though, which was really fun honestly. I ended up trying some more games like the Sergeant 2 remake or Stalker 2, and I generally had a great time. All things considered, I don't regret going there. Now, before we left, my friends and I decided to buy some mystery merch boxes for way more than I'm willing to admit, the results of which I will show you later. But for now, we made our way home to end the day. The next day, we decided to have a good time in the city itself. We visited Cologne Dome, which was absolutely beautiful to look at. Then, after we explored some more, we found a damn good pizza place. After that, we found an actual fucking Pac-Man arcade machine sold at a regular tech store, so that was sick. And then we found two separate stores selling imported snacks and the like right next to each other. And this was when I realized that some guy took a bite out of my fucking €10 bill. And so, with me unable to purchase anything more unless I go to the next bank, which I frankly had no idea where to find, we decided to clock in for the night. So what did I learn on this trip? For one, I learned that I should never debate my friends on the morality of hentai. Secondly, all weebs are gamers, but not every gamer is a weeb. And lastly, but probably most importantly, there seems to be a candy company called Toxic Waste somewhere. I assume they sell like edible uranium or some shit, so if you have information on that, please let me know. In conclusion, the con was great for anime fans and the city was very wet. Now I present to you all I have to show for my acquired knowledge. So I just came back from Gamescom and I may as well show you my haul. I got a 2 volumes of Helsing, which I promised a friend some time ago I'd read. I got an Xbox wallet, got a plastic Pokemon cup, and most importantly I got a Halo Funko Pop.
That's why my final rating for
Gamescom
is a
Funko Pop
out of 10.
Guys, it's Among Us! Among Us! Among Us! Among Us!